Hello, good morning or good afternoon.
Hello,
Hi.
hello. How are
Well,
you?
I am good. How are you? How's everybody today?
Good.
super. Alhamdulillah, super. How are you? How are things from your side?
Alhamdulillah, I think no complaints so far.
So far, so good.
Yeah, every day we're trying to be more optimistic.
Super.
That's the most important, the mindset, Raed.
Yes, yes.
Nice.
A lot of companies sell the ability to change mindsets. I think that's one of the consulting paradigms. I think we were working with a company in bakery. I can't remember the name. There was a guy, they had the whole idea was the CEO hired them to just change the mindset. So the mindset was people would come in, in these meetings, and everybody was like, well, we were going to make X amount of dollars this month. And that was it. And there was no questioning. There was no, it's business as usual. So the whole idea was for this consulting company to change the entire organization from the top down around the mindset, how to be into a breakthrough mindset. So what's your breakthrough revenue? You say you're going to make X. No, you should make X multiplied by 10% or 30% or 40%. And it's doable. And it actually worked. The whole idea of having a mindset gets a lot of engagement from everybody in the organization.
Excellent. You're based in Riyadh or Jeddah?
No, when I used to work for Baker or now? Now I'm
No.
based in Khubar, actually. I
Okay.
travel between Khubar and Riyadh, but our main businesses are in Khubar because of Saudi Aramco. So we are very close to Aramco. Now we haven't seen a lot of our customers physically for 2 months, but we see them virtually sometimes.
So you also do Zoom meetings with them?
Not Zoom. They have other local. They've got some kind of firewall applications that they use. But yeah, we've done some meetings with them virtually. But other than that, it's there's been a series of lockdowns and different areas that have been locked down. So the recent one was the industrial area where we have a facility. So they actually locked down the entire industrial area. So there's nobody that's going to work in the industrial area. So a lot of people now are trying to think how we can automate some of the processes. If we don't need to send people, what we can do in terms of finding a way to keep production, but try to automate it in some way, shape, or form.
Great. So do we have any new incomers?
We have Ziad Mohammed.
Hi, Ziad.
Hello, Ziad.
Then let's see.
Hi, sorry.
Hi, Ziad.
Nice to see you all.
Nice
Hello,
to meet
Ziad.
you.
Good afternoon.
We have Martin who just joined. Martin from the private office of His Highness. Hi, Martin. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Glad to have you in.
Thank you.
We have Farha Ledbetter just joined, and we are planning to have much more participants coming in as we speak. So Mohammed will be joining very soon. Sarah, same for Sarah, and Loredana, and there you go. Saher has joined. Vladimir, excellent. Saher, can you hear us? Feel free to unmute Saher.
He's connecting, Munir, that's why. Saha is coming. And now I can unmute Saher.
Super. Sarah Malik is also joining now.
Yes, she's here.
Adnan should be coming soon. Same for Mohammed. Okay. All right. So I suggest we just we just give it a go, and as long as the people come, I will just start introducing them. Okay. So Misha, you can hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay. Let's start. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending the day number 12, number 13 of the Ramadan webinar series. So today's topic is the best tips after job loss and company closure due to COVID-19 mainly. I'm very happy to open this specific session today. I will start by introducing Sumisha Tinakisht, who is our corporate event consultant and expert. Please, Sumisha, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Munir. Hello, everyone. My name is Sumisha. I am a business event consultant. I have more than 20 years of experience and 10 years of experience in online and digital. I am in the UAE since 3 years, and I handle mainly corporate events from the government or any conference as well. So I'm very happy to be part of this worldwide challenge with Munir and Sarah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Sumisha. Let's chain up with Sarah Malik. Sarah, if you can please unmute your microphone. Sarah is an international lawyer, international counsel, and founder of SOL International, if I'm right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Manu. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe and well, and thank you for inviting us to be on this platform. My name's Sarah Malik. I'm a lawyer, a barrister by profession. I've been in the UAE for about 5.5 years. I have my own legal consultancy, SOL International. I also sit as an arbitrator. My specialism is litigation. I have a very long background of over 20 years in employment law internationally. So hopefully we'll be able to give you some good tips on how you can kind of best serve yourselves during these challenging times. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. It's a great, so please can we remind everyone to unmute their microphones from the participant side so that we don't get any background noise and we can run a webinar in the best conditions possible. It's a great honor to have today Adnan Al Noorani, from the chairman of the board of the private office of His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qassimi. Adnan, it's a pleasure to have you here. Please, Adnan, if you can make a quick introduction of yourself. Off you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adnan Al Noorani. I'm the chairman of the board of the private office of Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qassimi. My experience in the relations and the royal family, it's 15 years almost in the United Arab Emirates and GCC. I will be glad to help and to be useful in this meeting, and wishing all of you happy Ramadan, be safe and healthy.
Thank you very much, Adnan. It's a pleasure. Let's chain up with Raed Bakhrji, straight from Saudi Arabia. Raed is a serial entrepreneur, serial investor, prominent experience in oil and gas with Aramco. Raed, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Munir. So my name is Raed Bakhrji. I'm Saudi, based out of Khobar. I have 20 years of experience with oil and gas companies. I've been in the entrepreneurship field over the last 4 years, starting businesses, services, focusing on localizing manufacturing and services in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I do have a lot of experience, especially over the last 6 months, around what it does take, or what kind of toll it takes on companies when we have such an event like COVID-19, and the challenges we have as businesses as well. And it's a pleasure to be here, because I think also that this topic is an important topic for everybody, and it's important to listen and give advice and hear everybody's opinion on this subject.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Raed. Let me introduce you to Mohammed Alami. Mohammed Alami, founder and CEO of Trutify, a B2B platform dedicated to B2B influencers, and extensive experience on company creations and in the region. Mohammed, please introduce yourself. Pleasure to have you.
Hello, everyone. So I said Mohammed Alami. I'm the CEO of Tweetify. So I'm a former consultant. I was a consultant for Ernst & Young for several years, doing strategy, performance improvement, digital transformation, and human resources. I'm also a business and personal coach. I'm helping a lot of corporations and individuals, entrepreneurs, to open a company, help them in difficult periods. And this is a very difficult period. That's why I'm very happy to be here. Otherwise, I have my own business. I own a startup based in Abu Dhabi. And that is, I would say, positively impacted by COVID-19. We're discussing about it also. That's the impact is not always negative, even though in this case, it's more about crisis management and business continuity plans, etc. So I'll be glad to bring my business vision to the panel to answer the questions from a coaching / business consulting point of view.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Last but not least, Sarah Mohammed. Sarah Mohammed is the founder and CEO of Nisa SOL, an initiative dedicated to women empowerment in the region. And I had the pleasure to co-host this webinar, Ramadan webinar series with her. Please, Sarah, introduce yourself. Marhaba.
Hi, yeah, this is Sarah from Nisa SOL. Once again, I can see, familiar faces. Welcome again, Raed, Ahmed, and welcome to our other panelists as well. So Nisa SOL is a platform for collaboration, and one typical example right now is our collaboration with Signature Network for doing webinars. So, I strongly believe that, through collaboration, we can do a lot together. And yes, we have a niche that we focus on women empowerment as well, but as well as we provide services to the entire market as well. I'm very excited about coming on board today and especially discussing a very sensitive project topic today. Thank you, Munib. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we will take advantage of the fact that people are still joining to just recall everyone and reinforce our code of conduct. Any comments about politics, religion, or sex is prohibited during our webinars. Please, we ask our audience if they have any questions in between. Please remember to address them on the chat section, so our admin will be happy to address these questions accordingly to the speakers. So once again, thank you very much for all your collaboration. Let's start first with the first question to the panel of the speakers. Today is about job loss and company closure. So the first question is, many companies are laying off people and freezing their salaries. What do you do if you lose your job right away? And how can you emotionally sustain and motivate yourself? I will start first with Sam.
Thank you very much, Munir. Firstly, just to kind of slightly caveat, hopefully none of you will ever find yourself in a position, or as a company should be in a position, where there's an immediate job loss, because even though there's now provision under the law and there's a resolution that was passed specifically to deal with COVID measures, not just one resolution, there's been many, which allows a sliding waterfall scale of measures employers can take. But it can't be imposed on you. So there shouldn't be a sudden job loss. There should be some consultation with an employee to say, okay, we're considering terminating or reducing or unpaid leave or paid leave. What usually is supposed to happen is an employer is supposed to either decide that employees, or ask them if they will take unpaid leave, and thereafter, if they ask for a temporary reduction of salary, then a permanent reduction of salary, and then as a more draconian measure is a job loss. Now, unfortunately, although the law says that, we know from the practical side that's not always followed by companies, and we get many calls daily of the exact situation where you're suddenly sent an email saying, I'm sorry, you're redundant, you're out, there's nothing left to do. You're in a difficult position because legally, even though that's not allowed and you have a claim you can bring under the labor law, the reality is very few are litigating during this period. There will probably be a lot of litigation after the period, but it's more about a solutions-oriented approach. If your company suddenly dismiss you, you may well want to try and negotiate with them and say, actually, this is not lawful. You're not really allowed to do that under 279. You have rights. And I ask you to look at Ministerial Resolution 279 of 2020 because it sets out the sliding scales. And even if you do have termination, at least you need to ensure your end of service gratuity is paid out to you. There may well be notice provisions. There is help at hand in terms of a solution, because there's a virtual labor market now that's been created. And employers should register any people that are affected onto that. And you can go on yourself on the MOHRE website and log your details. And that's basically like a cycle for employees who need work during this time. And visa-wise, you're okay, because everyone's visas are kind of extended till December. But in a nutshell, and I'll pass over to the other speakers, hopefully you shouldn't find yourself in a position where it's absolutely immediate. There should be consultation. If you do, negotiate your rights, pick up the phone. Don't just think the employer can do as they please. If all of that fails and you're still in that position, you can stand your ground for your end of service gratuity. If even that's not given to you, it's about being solutions oriented. See if there is anything on the virtual labor market that you may have a skill set for. Ask friends, maybe they can advertise any vacancies they might have on the virtual labor market, and you can start working in that respect and at least earning some money in the meantime.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Let's address to Mohammed. What's your say on that?
Well, actually, as I said, I'm more like the business guy here, I would say. So what I would recommend is the first thing is try to assess yourself, because we're talking about the psychological aspect. I think the first thing is the shock. Let's say that you got laid off, or you just lost part of your job. That you're half-time or like just on a part-time basis. So what I would say is do an assessment about yourself. See yourself as a business, even though you're not. I'm not saying that you should start your business, because it's not the first thing to go for. But assess yourself. Do a SWOT matrix like you would do for a company. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Try to put them really into a matrix. What do you know? What do you know? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what are the opportunities that the market is offering? I'm saying this because I got a lot of clients that were coming to me like, initially I don't have, my background is marketing. And I figured that I was doing marketing in the automotive market. We saw that the automotive market was slowing down a lot during the last few years. A lot of people wouldn't find a job, even though without the crisis, just because the market wasn't doing well. And they haven't been able to find a job afterwards. So what we did is we did a work on them, on their strength. And I figured that actually they were very good with digital transformation. That is very trendy now. So what we did together is that we worked to find those strengths and work on them. It's a time also, we have time to learn. What's the beauty about nowadays, that you can go to Coursera, you can go to EDX, you can go to LinkedIn Learning, you can go everywhere to learn pretty much anything. And me myself, we're currently hiring, so we're not firing, but now we just hired a developer, and that guy never went to the university, but he's so skilled and he learned so many things while working on his own, while learning how to code. He's extremely good with Python, that we're using a lot for AI and machine learning. And what I say to people is that it's not because you studied something and you have a specific, I would say, degree in one thing that you have to stick with it. Especially when a crisis like this comes, you have to find the right opportunity. So first thing, just try to gather yourself. Try to work on your psychology. Try to start doing sport if you can, at home, preferably. Otherwise you can go run a little bit, just for a day or two, just to get a little bit over the shock wave that you just received. The second thing I would say is to do meditation and try to work on yourself, because if you're not your best self, you're not going to show others, even though there are job opportunities. If they see you that psychologically you're a bit down, they will be scared to actually hire somebody who's not showing signs of weaknesses, etc., etc. Because unfortunately, we are in a society that they always want you 100%, but we're human beings. We can't be 100% all the time. But when you're going to apply for a new job or something like this, you need to be 100% or at least fake it until you make it. I love this saying. It's like fake it until you make it. So you lost your job, khalas, it happens. You're healthy, you're not sick, your family's with you, you're not gonna die tomorrow, so it's fine. Go do some sports, free your mind, then come to yourself. What can you do? Just put yourself, you are a company, what can I do? What can I learn? What can I do better? What am I good at? And as a matter of fact, I saw people having I did with them a transformative journey that took them from and they figured that they were actually unhappy with their jobs, and after losing their job they were way better after, because they were doing something that they feel was meaningful. And even though that money-wise in the beginning, it might be a little bit difficult. Maybe you'll have to accept a role a bit more junior than when you had before. So it's a little bit less paid, but it is a possibility. The second thing, and that I would say for people that have an issue money-wise, I would say, is maybe to see the strength and try to sell the strength as a freelancer. There are freelancing platforms such as Fiverr, such as Upwork, etc., that you can go and you can sell your expertise. We all have expertise. We all learned a lot of things while working. Just go over there. People from all over the globe can come and hire you. I'm hiring a UI and UX designer from Sri Lanka. I'm hiring, I don't know, some developers who are working with us. They're from Serbia, from Macedonia, and stuff like this. So what I'm saying is that don't put yourself in a box. See outside the box. See what are the opportunities you can find, and try to rebuild yourself until you find the thing that actually will be the best thing for you to evolve. So there are two ways into it. The first one is the psychological one, where you really have to work on yourself to fake it until you make it. And the second thing is to think about it as a business. How can you overcome this crisis? And in the time being, we'll use your network, go on LinkedIn, post new pictures, post articles on social media to show who you are, to show what you know, because this is the way to show to the world who you are, what are your strengths and skills.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Adnan, what's your say on that? Please make sure you unmute the microphone before you answer. We cannot hear.
Sure.
Thank you. Excellent.
Mr. Munir, first of all, I want to tell you that the companies that people are thinking that they are losing the job, I consider myself as my experience. I consider there is 3 categories in United Arab Emirates. There is low companies, medium, and high. The low coming staff from 1 to 5 people working, and medium, it's from 10 to 15, and high 20 plus. This is what I consider myself. The companies that they are, the people, the staffs that they are working in the low company, of course, it is, let's say 80% they will lose their job, and they will not be paid, and they will have, they will face issue in the current life. The medium ones, that they will cut their salaries for 50% from the owners to the employee that they are working there. And the high companies, they start to not cut or to terminate anyone, that because the background of the company is strong. Let's say 16, 15, 30 years. This is my opinion. And meanwhile, if you lost your job, what you need to do? First of all, United Arab Emirates considering helping everyone, and this you can consider your second home, because our leaders and our government, they make a great job to control the COVID-19. And His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, God bless him, he launched to help to give food to everyone. We have so many government and organization companies that they already make advertisement with their phone numbers, that if somebody lost his job and he's needed of money or food or to help him meanwhile, he can contact and to support him. And what I know, that let's think what we did in the past. Maybe this is a punishment from God. Maybe the human being is being a danger in the planet. You need to think by yourself, as the gentleman said. You need to be with your family. The most important, the precious thing in this world, that you will be healthy. Money and luxury is not every time important in the life. This is my advice. And be with your family, with your kids. Try to give time to your parents, father and mother as well. When they are old in age, maybe they need you. And think, there is no end of the world. The KFC owner, he started to do his job when he was 55 years old. He opened his empire when he built his company. And act. And let's say Alibaba owner, he was applied 20 places reject it. Also, McDonald's, you apply in McDonald's, they reject him also to be as a serving a food. But at the end, he is empire of China. He have half of the business in China for him. Never lose hope and faith. God is great. Wishing all of you the best. In the United Arab Emirates, if somebody lost his job or he need to take action, he's in safety hand. I can guarantee you from the Ministry of the Labor. That's it, Mr. Munir. Yes.
Thank you, Adnan. Thank you very much for your input. Raed, what's your light on this one?
Thank you, Munir, for the question. So briefly, I think the pandemic is giving people time to think, and actually not having a job or not having income, or even companies that stop having income are having time to think. Some of the greatest works of art, books were written during cholera pandemic in 1863. And if you look at these periods, people that are sitting home actually can spend a lot of time on improving themselves. And I like what Mr. Muhammad said about improving your abilities. I mean, there is so much content online for getting better at your skills and your core skills. I think this is number one, very important. The second thing is that to understand that, whether the companies have a business drop now because of pandemic of demand or at any time, job loss happens. So people always need to understand that development is very important. When you lose a job, sometimes you lose it for the right reasons. Maybe you will need to go and improve and do other things. So I think job loss is not something that needs to be an event that is a catastrophic event. It is something also that everybody across the world is going through. It is not unique to a single individual. The other thing that is also important in terms of emotions and really understanding how the nutritional environment work is we are being supported by the government. It's true. Mr. Adnan mentioned what's happening in UAE. In Saudi Arabia, we are having very similar help. There are some ways that companies and individuals are being supported. And there was, I think, 12 billion that was pumped into the Saudi market from the government to support small and medium businesses. Other things are happening in the US that do the same thing, right? So you need to understand that you can go to the government and ask. You go to the local companies or agencies and find out what are the opportunities for short-term things that are happening immediately, whether it's grace periods on on your expenses, whether it's food related, whatever. And having that kind of relaxed approach and grounded approach is very important for you to be able to sit down and plan what are you going to do after COVID-19. Forget about COVID-19, it's happened. What's going to happen after COVID-19 is more important for individuals and companies alike.
Thank you very much, Raed, for your inputs. Please, I asked all the participants if you had any questions to address to our panel of speakers, if you can write it down on the chat section, and we'll make sure the question will be addressed accordingly to the speakers. I give it over to Sarah to ask the second question to our panelists. Please, Sarah.
Sorry, Munir, before you do, can I just add to just one point to
yes,
what the other panelists said? I completely agree with what's been said. And there are lots and lots of online courses at the moment that are being run for free by very reputable universities where you have a certificate at the end and you can really reinvent yourself. After this, I'll share a link with you. I'll forward it to you. You can send it on to participants of various universities who are offering short online courses or massively reduced fees. So there's courses that might, for example, be £5,000 that are being run at £280 or £300 just to get people, back in, stimulated, motivated, to give them an additional skill set. So it's really important that if you find yourself at a time like this, sat at home and having lost your job, make the most of it. Try and develop your new skill sets. as the speakers have already said, it's really important for the post-COVID period as well to kind of have a brand new CV almost of skills that you otherwise wouldn't have the time to pick up. Make the most of it.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. So it's very interesting listening to all the panelists who are talking about you know, what happens when you lose your job, and it is so important that you emotionally get yourself balanced, and at the same time you look at other means of upgrading your skills so you can see what else you can do. And yes, internet is also providing us a lot of online opportunities that we can tap into. So rather than just sitting and just being, you know, gloomy and doomy, you know, as if there's no end to it, it's best to motivate yourself and just get out of it and look at the other opportunities that are available, because there are always other opportunities available. Now that takes me to my next question, is that you know, we've discussed about the emotional part and what skill sets to be done, but how can you do a damage control when there are issues like financial standings? How do you deal with loans, health insurance, schools, rent, and credit cards? I think this is what also creates an emotional imbalance in a person as soon as they lose a job or a company gets shut down, because these are the immediate you know, red lights that appear and emotionally, you know, kinds of affect you. So perhaps Raed, you can give us some insight into this, and then I'll move on to the other panelists.
Thank you, Sarah. So briefly, I really believe that you know, I believe in family or co-centers of emotional support. It's very important to start and depend on people around you to support you. We have some employees that started, some of them lost jobs, and they started their own jam'iyya. I don't know if you have the same word in English. Jam'iyya is when a group of people help individuals by putting certain sums, and then they try to move these sums over a period of time. While everybody sees this event as being short-term, I truly think that maybe the event itself will be a bit medium to long-term in terms of the after implications. So I kind of believe that maybe jam'iyyas are very short-term, but overall there needs to be a very strong mentality, mindset, that you need to reduce your cost of living if you don't have an income immediately. And by that, I mean relook at everything that you do, your spending in terms of your car, your transportation, your food, your cost of housing, your cost of schooling, and really look at how you can shift and manage with whatever savings you have. And if you don't have savings, then this is where you can go back and leverage your friends and close relatives to be able to support you, because those are the people around you that can create a bond of trust in terms of making sure that you guys can win through this time and not really lose everything during the next 6 months of this pandemic. So I think a very healthy environment is needed for that. But again, when you have bigger portions of people being pushed out, and I understand also sometimes in the UAE, because you have different people from different backgrounds and different countries, maybe your family is not here, maybe. Sometimes you have to look at your situation and decide if maybe staying is not the right decision. If my home country was somewhere else and the right decision was to go back, then it would be the right decision to go back. But I think every situation is very unique. If you have close friends and close family, this helps you. And if you're far away, you need to really look at your financial planning closely and tighten the belt. We have a saying in Saudi, tighten your belt. Yeah. So it's time for tightening the belt.
Yes, thank you very much, Raed. The only thing with Jam'iyya, if I can comment, is you have to pay back, because it's almost like a cycle. We are all supporting each other, but we need to pay back.
You still have to pay it back anyhow, right?
Yeah,
So,
we still have to pay back, right? Thank you so much. Adnan, you have any insight into this? Would love to hear from your point of view.
Sure. I think this is related to the second question, right?
Yes. Yes. So how they deal with loans and health insurance, schools, rent, credit cards, so.
Okay. As you know, again, I'm telling our government, they are doing, and the leaders, they are doing the best way to help the foreigner and the local people as well. As you know, that central bank, by instruction of the leaders, they given to Central Bank of Dubai, that if someone have credit card or loan or any finance, they can postpone it till 3 to 4 months. They don't need to pay till they will find a job and they will settle and they can clear it with the bank, not immediately, a slowly way. I'm thankful to all the banks owners and let's say private sector or the government sector for their to answer our reader request. And for the school as well, I'm really thankful to some owners that they own the schools in private or government, that they already reducing also for the people that they impact the COVID-19. You need to provide the documents, the statements, and the letter from the company that you are already terminated or you are not getting salary. They already giving 50% discount in the schools, as what I heard in the government. And for the rents, some people, let's say some landlords, God bless them, they already accepted 2 months that you will not pay, or we will postpone your check to, let's say, a month of September or August. But some landlords also, God bless them, that they didn't agree, but they need to have a little bit humanity that to help the people and to know that also if you have a family, they have a family as well. And you need to respect everyone and to help. This is from my perspective view.
Thank you very much, Adnan. Thank you. And Sarah, nice to have you on board, Sarah.
Yeah, my view, I'm going to endorse what the other speaker said and just add a couple of points. So absolutely, it's correct that we need to prioritize what your kind of expenditure is, and whether you need to sit down and do a table and work out, this is my essential and this is, I don't need it during COVID and I don't need that luxury, or I can cut down here. Number one, that's going to help you, and you can suddenly make, I don't know, a 30 grand spending or 20,000 might come to 15 or 17 or 12. It really helps. So have the right mindset. Number two, it's about negotiating. There are lots of packages that are out there. The UAE government put out, when this whole crisis hit, 100 billion initiative. That's mostly for companies. And they've supplemented that. And as has already been said, in terms of the central bank, certainly for retail sector, there's been a 6 month that people shouldn't have to pay loans back for 6 months, i.e. there's holidays. But even on individual customers, the expectation is that banks need to be lenient, and they've been told by the central bank that you need to help out here. The only one caveat I say to that is that's from the banking perspective. With private landlords, the issue is this. If private landlords have their own payments to make, for example, to developers, and the developers aren't giving them any kind of a holiday period, then they're having to pay that out of their pocket. And what I'm increasingly seeing is landlords, if they are going to negotiate reductions in rents, they need to see evidence, as do the schools, because the more harder you're hit, if you like, you should be helped more. So it's not like everybody's hit the same way. Some people are doing okay out of COVID. Some people are doing very badly. And some people are just generally, not affected so much. Those who are affected more should be helped more. That will require, don't just assume that you can just go and ask. They are going to require you to back that up with evidence. And that's only fair to say, for example, here's the evidence that I've lost my job. It shouldn't be so intrusive that you have to start disclosing all your bank statements and all your outgoing expenditures, because that's too much. So there needs to be a balance, and even the schools have exercised that. and what the schools have done. And it's interesting because there's been different approaches taken by different schools. And equally, we must always remember that the schools themselves still have costs. You know, they have the teachers to pay, and they have, you know, maintenance of the school, and they've had to overnight within that 2-week period that we were all very quite rightly and very quickly, you know, told children no longer to be at school, and it was the best decision made. They had to adapt to the blended learning. They had to adapt to online learning. So there's a lot of time that's input then. There's still salaries they need to pay. So again, it's about, I think what I always say from the legal side is, it's about being solutions oriented, but adapting the approach to get through this. Everybody needs to work together. We shouldn't have employees or people who are banging on about their rights, or the tenants who are like, no, but I need X, Y, and Z, or landlords who are sticking to the letter of the law. It's about, what do I want as the end result? I need to get through the next 3 months. I don't have the pay I used to have. Landlord, I need your help for the next 3 months or 4 months. And what solution can we come to work together? And sometimes you park the law to a side because it's about coming together and working out the correct solution. There are lots of packages and, you know, opportunities that are available for people to be able to assist themselves. And in terms of damage control, as well as prioritizing what you actually need to spend, have a list of what all your outgoings are and see if any of those you can get a holiday for 3 months from that, for example, and then contact them all. And all they can say is no, or all they can say is maybe not give you a full 3-month holiday, or give you, you know, 2 months or 1 month, but anything is better than nothing. You won't know until you try. So you have to kind of be proactive and make sure you yourself help yourself in those. There's a duty to mitigate your own circumstances yourself. And to, I agree that you reach out to family, you reach out to your network, but you also need to, you owe yourself the duty to help yourself and to reach out to all of your, if you have loans or if you have school fees or whatever you might, anywhere where you may be able to get, excuse me, a reduction or a temporary break, then you avail yourself of that. And, you know, knowledge is power. The more you know about what is available out there, you're going to know that by starting to do your research or knowing. And people are generally, I found, there to help. So even in circumstances where they don't have to legally provide any rent holiday or provide any subsidy, they're doing it if they can see the evidence. Again, don't be kind of misinformed that everybody's just going to get it just because they apply. You do need to back that up, and I think that's only correct. That's fair. That's my view.
Thank you, Sarah. Ahmed?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, a lot of things has been said already, and I do agree with everyone. My take on this is that, alhamdulillah, as a tech company, we haven't been touched. In the contrary, actually, we had a lot of clients calling us over to use our platform. So what we did is to actually offer to several government entities, to companies, etc., in solidarity with everyone, a complimentary access to our platform that was helping for remote working, for learning and knowledge sharing, basically. That was very important now. So this was from our side, we think that the people that are blessed with not being touched should be actually the ones, as much as possible and as much as the law is allowing us to do it, to help others. I got my landlord who offered me to pay on a monthly basis, but I told him that it was fine, but he could maybe offer something to somebody else because that person might need it actually more than I do. And I think that we have to be, the solidarity needs to come from everyone. The people that are less fortunate should be helped by the ones that are a bit more fortunate within the regulation and within the law. It is a moment they're very difficult, and if we don't stick together, just like our leaders here in the UAE are doing, they're an amazing job. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, we saw in Abu Dhabi that they have been helping us also a lot. There is a lot also of communication from their side, sending us emails, telling us that they are there for us. They waived a lot of license fees, etc., that we had to pay. So, tabarakallah, really, I'm so proud to be here. You know, I'm French. I'm also Moroccan, so I have two citizenships. But I feel like the UAE is really doing things the way they should be done. I see how things are done in France. I have friends in France. France is one of the biggest power in the world. You go to France, you go to a hospital today, and that's why I think that people that are psychologically affected, maybe even financially affected by psychology, they have to understand that in France, the people are told to go home if they feel sick. Do you understand this? People know they have COVID-19. They can't go to the hospital. They can't be treated because they're telling them, we have no treatments, guys, go home. They tell them, we have no masks, go home. We have not enough doctors, go home. Alhamdulillah, in the UAE, our leaders are doing more than they could do. They're helping other countries, as we can see it on social media. And I think that indeed you have to be careful. You have to pay attention to what you're paying, but you have to understand also that it is just a moment in your life. Maybe in a few years we'll be just looking at it like, yeah, well, it was a difficult moment, but just keep in mind that I know for a fact from people working, because some of our clients are big pharma companies, and I got insights from them, that we are really lucky to be in the UAE today, because the UAE is doing everything they can, and they're putting a huge amount of money, not only to help companies and people, but also to help us to be able just to go have a treatment. You're sick, you can go call the Ministry of Health, you can go Dubai Health Authority, etc., and get treated for this. And just this is the biggest luxury you can afford today. We're not in a financial crisis. The financial crisis came from a crisis that is more sanitary. Imagine you're in a country where maybe you didn't lose your job, but actually nobody's going to treat you. I know people that died because they weren't treated. Young people, 30, 35, 40, 45. So it's true that everything that has been said is very important. Finance is very important. The banks are helping. People that are more lucky than others should be able to help. We should see how we can help even more. We can send SMS like messages to send meals to people, etc., etc. So really, I'm very glad. I'm very happy to be here. A lot of my friends are calling me like, are you okay there? I was like, guys, I think you're not okay where you are. I think I'm in the best country possible to pass through this hard moments, and that's why I just wanted to say really a big thank you to our leadership and to all the companies. And if we can help somehow, because I think that the people that are here are the most favorite ones, and the ones that are not maybe living it in a bad situation from the panelists, if we can help somehow, if I can help personally, give some advice free of charge, etc., if we can help as much as possible, please guys, feel free to contact me. You have my name, you can add me on LinkedIn. I'll be glad to spend as much time as I can, because I have to work as well to help people around.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. It's very empowering, and you know, as you know, all the audience and people who are listening to this, there is help out there, but you need to just go out of your way to ask for it, rather than, you know, either complain about it or feel sorry about it. And as you can hear, that we are so blessed to be in this country, and this country has taken its best measures to protect us. And whoever you are, whatever you are, you have all the support from the government, from the individual, from the business communities, from the your neighbors, from, you know, just ask. You know, the country is full of you know, people to help each other, and I think we should really consider this. And at the same time, we should always empower ourselves, because we shouldn't just be there and just wait for the handouts. You know, we should just take actions and empower ourselves, so we can start looking at other available opportunities that are out there. So thank you all very much for this insightful explanation. Munir, back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah. So we started having some questions addressed by some of the participants. So we'll go through them right now. We have a first question from Radhakrishnan, who is asking, due to COVID-19 and the economic situation right now, I lost my job and I am in a notice period right now. So my company is going to cancel my labor contract immediately. As far as I know, generally we are allowed to stay in the UAE only 30 days after the cancellation of the labor contract. May I know whether UAE government will allow me to stay until December 2020 to find another job? Who would be keen to answer that question? Maybe Sarah or Adnan? Sarah?
Yes, Mr. Munir. Actually, as our immigration said, and the government of United Arab Emirates, by instructions of our leaders, that anybody is overstay, or they cancel his visa, or they have issue, they will not charge, and they will be clear till end of let's say December 2020. Okay. Nobody need to be scared or to panic. You are, as Mr. Mohammed said, you are blessed. Let's say you are blessed to be in United Arab Emirates, and you are in safety hand. You don't need to think anything. And if they have any question or any support or any help, or they need any job, I got 10 minutes ago an instruction from His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al-Qassimi. We can give our email info@hishighness.alqassimi.ae. I can share with everyone. They can share all the requested what they need, and we can guide them in which department they can go and how they can sort their problems.
Excellent, Adnan. Thank you very much for your insights. Sarah, you wanted to add something?
Thank you.
Just to agree that that's definitely legally, everyone's okay till December 2020. If you lose your job, if you're an overstayer, not only are you okay visa-wise and you're not going to get any penalties, but even, God forbid, you get sick, you're going to get treated in the hospitals, even if you don't have insurance. So the UAE are here to ensure everybody's here is protected, and they're being very sensible. You know, we're hearing maybe, for example, you know, airlines may open in July, August, we don't know when, but the UAE have extended this till December at this stage to say that visas are extended automatically. Anybody from 1st of March 2020 who loses, well, it's not loses a job, who is not a visa holder anymore because the visa expires, or they're a visitor, or they're an overstayer, or they lose their job, everybody's protected till December 2020. And in fact, that gives you opportunity to go on the virtual labour market, look for any other jobs, set something else up. We all have a lot of time to be able to do that, because we are not having to worry about, oh, I'm going to run overstay fines, you know, if I get sick, what's going to happen to me? So we're in a good position. So don't worry about the visa status at all at this stage.
Thank you very much. Raed, do you want to add something, or we can move on to the next question?
For the UAE, I really don't have very solid information. For Saudi, I can say that you know, the government is very helpful. We all understand the situation is global. In fact, some of the issues that people have is that there is no flights, there is no transportation, so everything is locked down. This is known for everyone around. So you know, we are saying in Saudi for everybody, just stay home and let's figure out what happens once this thing passes us later on. So the world, you know, it's like pushing pause on the video for us. So I think it's similar, and the support is there from everybody. And I want to thank really Adnan and everybody in the panel. It's true, there is a lot of support from the governments. A lot of people don't see it, maybe because you're sitting home also. But if you communicate, if you ask, if you call, if you try to reach out, you will find out that there is a lot of support from all the governments in GCC for all people living in whether Saudi, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, and we have seen it. It's clear. We will go through this pandemic together. On the other end, after it finishes, we'll sort out whatever happens.
Great, excellent. We have another question from Mohammed Ziyad among the participants, who is asking, before posting my question to the panelists, I would like to give a background. I was sent to UAE to set up a business by my investor. So technically, I am a business owner here, but in reality, I am just an employee who was promised a salary. But now the funding for the business has been held and have asked me to move on with no salary, no payment any further. Question one, I will have to cancel my visa along with my family's visa. How do I continue to live here without a visa and look for an alternative career? Question two, how do I convince my landlord that I have lost my job, whereas on paper, I'm the business owner? And question three, what is approximately turnaround time of the job situation or the economic situation in the UAE? Based on this, we could gauge whether it would be worth the wait, or would it be advisable to go back to my home country?
Okay.
Sarah, do you want to add some light to that?
I think we've dealt with question one. You're allowed to stay. We've said that because of the visa situation, and everyone's here till December 20 without any issue. I think to some degree we've dealt with question two. In terms of convincing your landlord, what you have to do is just, what you have to do is just back up that you show the chronology, show that you were the investor, and that it's not your business and you were on a salary and that's now been cut. And you can evidence all that presumably by paperwork, by emails, chains or otherwise. It shouldn't be difficult to be able to show that. So even if you can't show I've lost my job because I don't have a termination letter, you can show a paper trail of your circumstances and how they've changed. And that should be, the landlord will be able to see that and see that you have actually lost the position you were in before and therefore you are affected. And if any rent deal or otherwise can be done, then hopefully the landlord will do it and consider it, but you must be able to evidence that paper trail. And in terms of the even on paper, if you're the business owners are still affected. Many are. And even with the schools, when business owners are showing a downturn in work, for example, sometimes you're having to prove a negative. You're having to show, well, actually, I'm not booked for the next month or 2 months or 3 months. I haven't lost my job. I still have the business. We've not gone into liquidation, but I have a dead diary as compared, they might ask you to show, for example, evidence of cancellation of contracts. So don't assume that you won't be able to evidence or show that you've had a change of circumstances, even by presumably your investor will have said to you, okay, we don't need you anymore. Use that email. And question 3, in terms of the turnaround, look, that's like, how long is a piece of string? We all say, inshallah, things will turn around and fairly quickly. And I think the world looks to us as one of the leaders in terms of when things are going to turn around. UAE will be one of the pioneers of that because of the way quick action was taken very quickly and very smoothly. And people, there was a streamlined process and everybody kind of ensured that they managed the lockdown properly. All the schools, we went into kind of homeschooling and putting out social distancing measures before most countries in the world, when it was all very new. So in terms of turning it around, we also, if we look at other countries, we see those who took action very, very quickly are able to kind of get back to some kind of normality quicker than those who allowed it to go on for a while. So in terms of, is it advisable to wait here or go home? Now that's a personal decision for you. As far as I understand from the legal point, many people have gone home, and what the UAE have again done very commendably is allowed repatriation flights and worked with governments of other countries to have people who want to repatriate to go home. And secondly, even from the employment law side of things, employees are allowed to take unpaid leave, go back to their home countries and still have the same kind of, opportunity to come back to. Their visas are not cancelled, if you like. So many people have opted also to maybe want to go to their home countries. There is a resolution that allows them to go home and have the pandemic waited out there and then come back. So that's not really a legal question. It's more a question for you. Are you more comfortable amongst your family back home? Is it cheaper for you? Are you more supported, or are you able to kind of remain here? In terms of being able to come back, the message that's there is we're not stopping anybody. We're keeping it open. We want to make sure everybody is treated fairly. That's the message from the leaders that be.
All right, thank you very much. That was very, very informative. Do we have any other questions from the panel section so far? No. So Misha, I will give it to you so that you can address the question number 3 to the panel speakers. Sorry.
Thank you, Munir.
Welcome.
So we already went we already answered to this question, but I would like our panelists to go more in details, or even to give names, or even to give a step-by-step for helping our people. The question is there any aids or incentives available to support jobless people or people who close their companies? Do we have any legal rights, and how can we exercise them? And I want to add something to this question is for every people actually in UAE, expat or not expat. So maybe we can start with Adnan.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, for the related to the guide that how from government we can support them and what is the things. First of all, as I previously said, that we have some companies or some organizations that they are giving the numbers in the newspapers and media to support the families that they are jobless or they don't have food to eat. And I can support them as well. I shared my, by instruction of His Highness, the info email. Anybody need any help or any documents, we have expert public relation team department that they can work for everyone to support as our capacity is there. And related, let's say, to any rights that he have. Of course, he have rights, because when the employee sign a contract in Ministry of Labor with the company, that's mean there is a fully right. He can go through his contract, or he don't have a copy from the contract. We can help him to provide them the copy of the contract as well from the government. He can go through it. The company don't have right to terminate any employee without notice of 1 month in advance. This is what is mentioned in the law. Second, if the employee was terminated from the company without notice, you have the full right to go to the Ministry of Labor and complain that they will take action from there to force the company owner to pay his due bills or the salary. Doesn't matter we are in COVID or not COVID. We have law. We are stick to the law, and UE is equal to anyone. There is no high level, no low level. We are all equal in this country. Also local and residents. We are all equal. As Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum and Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, God bless them, both of them. They put in each local to be humble and to be kind, never to be nose up. This is what the leaders teach us to be. And I think there is nothing to be worried about it. He can take his right, and he don't need to be panic or something. I can share the link of Ministry of Labor with them, or the decision makers as well, phone numbers. I can share with everyone. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adnan. It's really helpful. Can we go maybe to Sarah?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just add to that. So what's recently happened is the ministry have said, so the Ministry of Labour have said if there is a dispute, there's a real impetus to try and keep it out of the court. So for the employer and the employee to reach a resolution. Now, the ministry itself isn't, they don't have legal status in terms of their decision is not legally binding on the employer and employee, but 9 times out of 10 employers will listen to what the ministry says, because it's very indicative of how a court would look at the matter. And if the parties can't resolve it at the ministry, then the file is transferred to the court. What the ministry have given an open kind of undertaking to do is to say, we want to resolve matters within 3 days. We don't want to flood our courts with claims to do with notices and the SGs when we can really resolve that. But it takes the will of the parties to be part of that. It's absolutely correct, as Mr. Adnan says, that you have the right. Just because we're in COVID doesn't mean employers can say, well, actually, there's the 1 month notice as a basic under the labour law, but maybe an employee has more notice under the contract, and they're entitled to that notice. So the minimum would be the 1 month that's referred to. But the employee can invoke that to say, oh, I'm entitled to that notice period, and I'm entitled to, my end of service gratuity. And if the employer seeks to withhold that, then there is a complaint that can be made, and it's not a complaint that's going to take weeks and weeks to resolve. Within 3 days, that's the ministry's target, they will come back with a decision. The next question is those that then may or may not litigate. And the truth is, at the moment, and probably for very good reason, people are reluctant to start proceedings. And I think that's correct, because you're putting a lot of money away in a situation where you probably, have lost a job or don't have a lot of money. But that's not a reason, I think, that is, should deter people from being able to know that they are protected and they have rights. Now, what a court may not, if it ever did litigate and go to court, and we take this from the kind of 2008 days when there was, a lot of closures and otherwise, and we had a crash generally worldwide, globally. What the courts are very strict about is protecting, for example, the end of service gratuity. It's a statutory right. That should have nothing to do with COVID. That should have been accumulated from the outset of an employee's employment. So for an employer to say, well, actually, we don't have ESG to give you, tough. A court's not ever going to appreciate that from the employer's perspective. And they will come down and say, no, the employee needs to be given that. And probably the same with notice. But what we realized in the 2008 days was, in terms of arbitrary dismissal, which is then another 3 months, up to 3 months compensation one can get if they are dismissed, because the labour law is very protective of employees and doesn't allow people to be dismissed unless it's for performance or conduct. But in a circumstance like this, and what I practically give advice to clients is, look, let the arbitrary dismissal go. You know, it's a 3-month period, and the court may not be sympathetic because they are going to see it from both sides. Businesses are suffering too, but certainly your statutory rights and your contractual rights in terms of your notice period or in terms of your end of service gratuity are protected. And even recently, I saw maybe 2 days ago where they're saying to private employers, for those who still remain employed, because we're getting a lot of now, you know, employers saying, oh, maybe we can pay later. Now, if that's agreed and there's consent with your employee, that's fine. But otherwise, if you know, there isn't that consent, then you can't do that. Now, in terms of the first question of the incentives available to jobless people, I always see online, and there's lots of philanthropists here, which is really nice to see, where people really want to help others. And I think given we're in Ramadan as well, there's a real culture of helping, and even the smallest things help. So if you really are in a very difficult position, use your own network and then reach out to go onto LinkedIn, go onto the social media. You will see so many people who are saying that there's something I'm part of, and I've seen it virally go around, that if you're not, you know, if you don't have food or you don't have a meal, you kind of pass on a text message and somebody will provide the money to make sure that person is fed. There's lots and lots of, you know, help that's going around when everybody is kind of coming together. And I think the most important thing is to be practical, to know that there is, nobody here needs to sleep on the street. Let's put it that way. I don't think that we're in a situation, thank God, where everybody in the UAE needs to worry about kind of, you know, being thrown out and put on the street. And if you are in a situation where your landlord does change the locks and you are thrown out on the street, you do contact the government and they will help you. I am pretty sure of that. And it's just the country we live in, and we're blessed to be able to do that. So I think, you know, losing a job is very stressing for people financially and emotionally, and it's not helped by the fact that we're all in unnatural circumstances, being in a lockdown period. So we're not, you know, out, we're not seeing all our friends and families and being out and about as we usually are. And then some of us are homeschooling children, which is very new to us as well. So there's a lot of stresses that are going on generally. But one thing we don't need to, I think, be concerned about here is that there's not, we're going to, if we lose a job, we're going to end up outside on the street and have absolutely nothing. There are ways of availing yourself of help. It's all over social media. Very kindly, Adnan has said they're going to share, you know, the emails that they can then direct people to say where to go. But again, coming back to the point earlier that was made by Sarah as well, we all need to help ourselves as well. It's not, there's not a website we go to that just tells us this is what you can do. It is through kind of knowing and searching that you come across what you're entitled to.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Actually, it is one of the main reasons why we started this webinar series. It's to help people and to gather the biggest experts and to explain them and to show them how we can support them. So thank you so much, Sarah. I can give the opportunity to Mohammed as well. Maybe you have your point of view as well from your own experience.
Well, actually, a lot of things has been said already, so it's that's why actually I don't have much to add on this point. It's true that you just have, because a lot of people might, there's one thing I can add is just put your pride aside. I know a lot of people are too proud to go seek help, maybe because they were in a comfortable situation before and they don't want actually maybe their loved ones or maybe even their family don't know about it. You can have their spouse or their children, they don't want to feel this distress that they might leave. Hopefully also there is a very big help that I saw from the Ministry of Health is about actually they're putting together psychiatrists, etc., helping people just to talk. And this is a huge help. You have to understand also that it's very expensive for them to do this. So all those initiatives are very, very expensive. I don't know any country who did this, to be totally frank. We have virtual doctors, we have psychiatrists on demand, you have people to talk to, there is a hotline. I know that people are stressed. It happened to me myself. For example, I'm living as myself. My mom is stuck with me for the last 2 months. She came for 2 weeks. I'm very happy to have her with me, but you know, it wasn't, she wasn't planning to stay here. So it's not always easy, you know, to live this situation. So I'm saying, yeah, even if you're proud, even if you feel like you don't want to go ask because you're not used to ask, we're all in this together, guys. Put the price aside. feel that if your family needs something and somebody can help you out, or you can seek government help or philanthropist help, etc., just do it. As a matter of fact, I'm starting normally starting from Monday. I'm working on some short videos that I'm going to be sharing on LinkedIn and other social medias to share my wisdom, I would say. And I'm starting a new hashtag actually to help people that are in distress from a business point of view, to actually just share the hashtag, to create like a large hashtag that everybody will convey, and where people will actually come and put themselves on it. So maybe we'll be able to talk about it afterwards. But this is an idea I got actually when we started those webinars like 2 days ago, and about the discussions we had. So really, if there is one point, just put the pride aside. We're all in it. We're all going to have problems. We might have lost our jobs as well. We might have been in a big issue. First, try to speak with the healthcare professionals. If you need somebody to help you out from a psychological point of view, just reach out to them. It's totally anonymous, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So this makes it easier. It's on your phone, so you can speak with them, and at least they can give you advice to calm you down, and then to reassess the situation. And yeah, put the price aside. Go find, if you need help, just go find help. Don't wait until the last moment, because I saw a lot of people even sick. I saw it, for example, in France, people got sick and they were like, oh, I'm gonna do okay, etc., etc. And finally they went to the hospital, and unfortunately they couldn't make it because simply they went too late. Same thing happened financially. If you're bleeding and you figure out that actually you're running out of money and tomorrow you're in the street and you don't have enough money to provide for your kids, maybe it would be better to come in advance and just say, okay, I'm not in a distress right now, but I might be if it continues for the next 3 to 4, 5 weeks. So what can I do? So at least prepare, have some kind of strategy, have some kind of roadmap, have a vision, I would say. It's a very business word, but it happens. It's the same in our life. If you know in advance, do your finances. Really, like you're a projection manager. You're a financial manager of your own self and of your family. Especially if you have a family with kids, you have to make sure that you know where to go, because the distress that you're living can be worse if kids are involved, and can be worse if they feel that their father or their mother, who's actually who's taking care of everything, is falling apart. It's going to have a huge impact that you might have avoided simply because you did your duties in advance. Means you checked in advance, you did financial projections. Just don't use your credit card until it's saying no. You know, this is a very big mistake that I saw a lot of people do. They're like, okay, I'm using my credit card, instead it's saying it's not working anymore. Yeah, but it's not a good idea. Even though banks are helping, just do financial projection, check until what day exactly, or at least a rough estimation of how many weeks do you have in front of you. And based on this, maybe take the right decisions. Just like we said, if there are repatriation flights, if you think it's better to go home, maybe be with your parents or with your family, it's gonna lower the stress. The UAE is offering you to come back, so there is always this option. If there is another option to seek help from philanthropists and from government entities, try it. Even if you're not sure that you're gonna need it now, maybe you'll need it in a month. You better know what to do and not come at the last moment and seek an emergency help. That will be way more difficult maybe to provide than if you did it a little bit in advance.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. We are happy that the support became contagious, and we wish you good luck to the community among your followers.
Sorry, Sumisha, we had a...
I just wanted to ask Raed, even he's living in Saudi, maybe he has just a small input, and then we can go to your questions or any.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you, Sumaya. You know, I hear the panelists, and I see a lot of the focus around what should be done. There's a lot of legal discussions and all that stuff. I think when you talk about jobs, I think this is a relationship between a company and an employee. And when a company goes through difficult times, they always try to cut costs, and some of the manageable costs are salaries and employees. Now, what we have done in Saudi, and this is not only a Saudi story, but we've implemented some of the things that we have done in the past around cutting costs, is that for us not to fire everybody, we decided to come up with a way where we reduced the working hours of people and reduced the income and discussed with them how to make sure we keep everybody, but everybody will get paid less because we had lower incomes. Now, what we're saying is, I think people have to have those ideas and discussions with their companies first as well, before going to the reality of being out of a job. I think the discussion between the different type of company and different type of employees can really help in getting through this short term, maybe 3 months, maybe 5 months of lower income for companies, because some companies are affected, honestly, but other companies, as Muhammad said, they are not affected. So I think these ways, this conversation has to happen before it gets to the point where you're getting fired and you're asking your employer to labor court and trying to reach out. These are solutions that are showing proactivity from the employees, especially with companies. Sometimes as a company owner, sometimes the first thing you think is cut costs. There's no money, let's cut costs. So I think this is very important. And if we had more people, like I had some guys in the company that came and said, we want to work less, but we want to get less salary. We'll work from home. We'll mix it, but you don't have to fire everybody. It was actually a very, very good decision, and we decided not to fire anybody.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Raed. Coming back to you, Munir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Raed, and everyone. So we have a question from Mohammed from the audience, who is asking, my company deducted my paid leave days and air tickets and paid me April salary. However, after that, they laid me off and told me that they will pay me the notice period and gratuity. However, paid leave and tickets are not included in the final calculation. Am I entitled to reclaim my paid leave and air ticket after being laid off? I think this one, Sarah, if you would like to add something to this one?
Sure.
This is
so just so if I've understood correctly, so the paid leave that you've accrued, Mohammed, has not been paid to you, it's deducted. What the company is allowed to do under the resolution, and this is without your consent, is if they ask you to take the paid leave days first. So if, for example, you've got 20 days that are accrued of paid leave, they can say, these are your paid leave days, you're taking them, and then you go on to unpaid leave. So if you've been sat at home and not worked and you've taken your paid leave, that's okay. Employers can ask you to do that. However, what you then say is that they've then taken back that paid leave in the final calculation. So in essence, you haven't had that paid leave. That's something you may be able to claim, but I mean, it depends on when you say, putting up the point Raed's just made, have open communication with your employer. You're not going to go to court or the ministry to claim your paid leave because it's prohibitive. The costs that are going to take, the time, and otherwise, when you can reach a solution with your employer and say, actually, I've already had that paid leave deducted, so I shouldn't have a double deduction. So try and reach an agreement with your employer. I'm telling you as a litigator and a lawyer, if you rang me up, I would say, please do a negotiated settlement. It's not worth you paying a penny to anyone to try and get this sorted through the courts or through ministry, because you're going to pay, or you're going to spend so much time doing things that ultimately it's not a huge amount for the, I mean, I'm not sure what your paid leave is, but it's not worth it to start a litigation battle for that. In terms of tickets, the only duty to give tickets under the law is to when your employee finishes their employment and they are to be repatriated back to their home country. If you, for example, find another job within the next few weeks, months, and you're still here, then there's no duty on the first employer to pay tickets, because the duty that the UAE government make the employers, if you like, the eyes and ears. They give them the right to sponsor people and they're on the visas, but equally then the employers are responsible for ensuring if the visas come to an end, if the employment comes to an end, that employee either moves on to somebody else's visa or they go back home. In a situation like this, your tickets, they don't need to be paid right now because you're not going back home and you may well find another job. The duty on the employer is simply to repatriate you at the end of your employment. And if I was putting on my employer's hat at this stage, I'd say, well, actually, we can't repatriate you because, you know, the flights aren't going, so we don't legally have to pay that. But again, it comes back to being able to, as Raed has picked up quite rightly, it's not all about the legalistics. I myself am a business owner. I employ staff. What's key to me, and I know one of my staff is on this, is one of the audience, is communication and open dialogue and kind of keeping employees informed and coming up with measures. And it's not a one bill that fits all. Maybe somebody does want to work a bit less. Maybe somebody can take a bit, you know, less of a pay cut or otherwise than somebody else. But in a situation like this, Matt, you should go back to the employer, not have a double deduction on your paid leave, but the ticket, no, unless you're being repatriated, that ticket you're not entitled to under law.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have?
I may add
Yeah,
something, just one thing from a business perspective. People shouldn't forget that going to litigation against your employer, the country is small. If you're working in one specific industry, people will know about it. Nobody's going to hire you afterwards. Employers don't like employees that are conflictual and that go to court unless it is really a huge problem. And I saw it myself with clients that are coming to me. I did this, I went to litigation, I won, I did, but now I'm not finding a job. Of course, because the first thing they're going to ask you is, who was your former employee? Okay, but let me give him a call, because this is what happens 99% of the time. If they give a call and the answer they get is like, yeah, they went into litigation because we're in COVID-19 crisis, and they didn't come to us before, they didn't say anything, they just went to find a lawyer and then they stood up. Not possible. Don't do this kind of things, because as I said, the industry is small, even though it's not only in the UAE, it might be in other countries, it might be in an international country, depends what you're doing. And you never know who are the people with whom you might work someday. Maybe you will find a job in another company and that person that you went to litigation against will come to that company. And it happens a lot more than what you think, because people in the same industry tend to, you know, overlap in the businesses and see each other again. So an advice from a non-legal point of view, just be open with dialogue, because they might be open to give you something that they wouldn't give you if you go into litigation, that they might actually give you if you have an open discussion with them. And also you have to understand the position of the employer itself. It's not a devil. I'm an employer myself. When I know that I know the capacity, and I know that if I don't do this, I will have to lay off maybe 3 or 4 more people that have kids and etc. that have a situation that is even worse than that person specifically. So just, yeah, open a discussion and keep in mind that you're both individuals, you both have feelings, so just go talk. I think that HR people are quite open-minded. They're trained for those kind, maybe not this exact kind of situation, but they're trained to deal with those kinds of situations. So try to have an open discussion. I think it's the best situation, and I would say the same for people discussing with the landlords, etc. Don't go into the law is saying you can throw me out. Yeah, the law is saying this, but then if you go against people, you might lose more than what the law is saying.
All right. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Bassam, I think you want to say something, Bassam, for the audience. Please, Bassam, you can unmute yourself and add.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It's very, mashallah, valuable, and panelists, it's an honor to be with you. Thank you, Munir and Sumisha and Sarah and everybody. Really, I like what you said. It's really each one of us learned from your experience. I have 22 years experience in Gulf and other countries in education, training, consultation, leadership, and innovation. I just want to give some tips from my experience. And many people, they don't know what's provided here in UAE. And they keep taking information from here and there and everywhere. And this makes them more confused and thinking randomly, more panic, and the pressure of the family, the pressure, fear and psychology, the pressure from the information. So one of my advice, each one, even us like a businessman or entrepreneurs, we need somebody like Muhammad and Mr. Adnan and other speakers. We need somebody to guide us. We need to be balanced in thinking, balanced in psychology. It's not about financial. And the things that, for all the speakers, I'm asking this question, there is people, they spend like 15 to 20 to 25 years as an employees. They never ever make 1,000 dirham or 500 in a business. And now they have zero business information. Even they have 25, maybe they are CEOs, maybe they are managers, even they are doctors or whatever. But when they go to the market, it's a different world and different universe. So they need a mentor. I am totally agree with Muhammad. We are need as a people, we are experienced. I am also providing free mentoring for people, and 1 hour sometimes is not enough. We need to give 1 to 3 to 5 hours, and to be like to 2 weeks or to 3 weeks, and to take them to the place that they can feel safe, because now they are panic in psychology, mentally, physically, and internally and externally. So this is my point of view. With all people here attended, don't just with respect listen to us and take information picking here and there and everywhere. It should be structuring, and you should be have a reference, expert people, and they know UAE, they know the rules of UAE, not people only they have, and with respect USA. The people like most of us here, we have an UAE experience, and in other countries, take the advantages of the rules of from labor, from the economy, go and visit, go to the websites and do the things. And thank you for this opportunity, Munir. The question is, the people who are 20 to 25 years as an employee, and now they want to start a new job, either to find a job to be employed or to find a job as a business, what we can give them. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bassam.
Bassam. The question, anyone who would like to answer the question of Bassam?
Yeah,
Sarah?
sure.
Or Mohammed? Yeah, please go.
So I'll give it from a business perspective. I think that Sarah said it as well before. It's not because you have 22, 25 years in an industry that might die tomorrow because it's not working anymore, that you have to stick with it. So you have to put yourself, you have to forget about you have 20, 25 years of experience if your industry is a dead end. And that's the most important thing. That's what I was saying about doing a SWOT analysis, is you have to analyze yourself as an individual, about your strength, about your weaknesses, etc. Especially weaknesses, it's very difficult. People tend to find strength very easily when we do the exercise together. And when I speak about weaknesses, like, oh, I don't see. Oh, of course, because believe me, there are hundreds of weaknesses that I can find. So the idea is that try to find where you can go. If you think that your industry and you see that your industry, I saw a lot of guys, just like you or others working for 25 years for the same company, they have such expertise. I was telling them, guys, just get out of there. Open your consultancy firm. You're going to make 10 times what you're doing. They're just scared to do it. They're scared because it's not easy. I'm not saying that the day after you're going to do it. There's a way of doing it. And if you're not working with a professional to do it, you might fail. That's true. Because I know a lot of people who are technical, expert, operational excellency, selling their services, zero. I know a lot of tech guys, CTOs who develop the best products in the world. They have never been able to sell it simply because they don't know how to do it. So you need to know what to do. And you should think about finding a partner. Because in times of crisis, you have to understand also that the crisis is the best moment to have a step back, look at yourself, look at your environment and say, oh, what added value can I bring to the society? So maybe this is a good moment to work also on things that are pro bono. Maybe you can start doing pro bono things that are just going to give you experience. Then you can start working, because you can't come and say, oh, I'm going to sell you my service. Okay, so the first question they're going to ask you is, what is your experience? I worked for that company, but have you ever done it yourself as a businessman? No, I never did it. Okay, so that's a weakness actually. So this weakness can be mitigated with an opportunity, finding a partner that is going to be complementing you and that will help you either financially, either with another set of skills to do it. And then you have to maybe to upskill yourself. Just like Sarah was saying, maybe she will send us the online course, and I'll be very happy to check them even for myself. You know, I think that each and every one of us has something to learn. I'm not a legal expert, and I will be glad to know more about the law and how it works, etc. Even though I own a company, I have a lot of things to learn. Sarah is the same. Maybe in IT, she's not as good as I would be, and Munir has skills, and Sumisha with events and everything. So we all need to learn something. So before launching anything, you need to have a business plan, just like we were saying yesterday. Business plan. So plan what you want to do. Put things in front of you. Put numbers next to it, especially with the crisis. Guys, if you think you need to invest $30,000 today to launch a business, maybe it's not a good moment to do it. Or maybe you should revisit what you want to invest and maybe invest smaller things to launch smaller businesses that do smaller things. On another side, you have experience. So if you don't want to launch a business because you don't know how to do it, or you don't want to have a partner in it, maybe you should see how you, with your experience and your strength, how can you go to the market and what is the best way to reinvent your career path. Because you can have experience that you can sell to others, but you need to know how to sell it. I know guys have crazy experience, they don't know how to write their resume. The resume is the first thing that people see. If you send a resume that looks awful, nobody's gonna read it. You can have the best experience in the world. I saw some HR receive it, okay, it's ugly, get away. Or they receive it, there are 10 pages. Who's gonna read the book? Guys, it's a CV. You're like, you know, flirting with the person. So you need to be interesting. So it's a whole bunch of things that you need to do. I'm just giving you some examples here. But yeah, just go back, check what you can do, think about the opportunities that you have, and then try to seek, honestly, if you're in the crisis and you don't know what to do, just seek help. You will find free of charge, but I'm telling you that the more free it is, I'm not telling you the result is good. A lot of people are gonna come, we're gonna do it for free. Yeah, sure, go. But the problem is, as you were saying, a lot of information, and I saw it myself about like coaching and business coaches that I worked with, they were giving some crazy information to people and they were actually applying it because they got it for free. Okay, it's free. I go, and especially, as you were saying, there are a lot of fake news. Fake news is the thing. You go to YouTube, you're gonna become a millionaire in one day. And you go to YouTube with how to become a millionaire, you're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people with hundreds of thousands of followers, with hundreds of thousands of likes, telling you that tomorrow you're gonna be a billionaire. And today with the crisis, there are a lot of people that are taking advantage of poor or uneducated or just weak people from this perspective and taking advantage of them and stealing their money. Still today, people are getting scammed. People are receiving phone calls telling them you win something, etc., which isn't the case. Give us your card. People are telling you, you just buy my book for $120, which might be a huge amount of money for someone. And they think that they will do something out of it. So please be very careful with the source of information you're going to before applying whatever information to your life. Because the person is just going to make money out of it. She's not losing anything. You might lose everything by not doing things properly.
Super. Awesome statement. I think Timur has something to say. Timur, do you want to add your...
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Timur, and I joined late. Thank you, Munir and Adnan, for inviting me to the sessions anyway.
You're very welcome.
Just want to add several points on those who either lost their job or have been asked to stay on unpaid leave, because we did a couple of trainings for employees and for employers in past. So what we usually advise, I agree with the person who have just shared information that it's a time to stay back and think about your expertise, what you actually expert at, and this can be converted into courses and consultancies. And yes, I definitely agree, it's not easy. Business is always tough, and basically now those who are running companies, they understand that the time when we were choosing when we were choosing the niche, that was the main important thing, to choose the niche right. So like, we are not closed or we are running. I run the concierge company here in Dubai, and obviously we are like really much affected. One of our part of the business is event management. It's also affected. Most of our offline events are canceled or postponed. But anyway, so I agree with the person that you have to change all the time, the strategy, the way you run the business, and it's constant progress. So it's not the time to sit and say, okay, I've been running the company for 16 years. And well, it's the time to stay back and think like what we were doing wrong and what can be done. So we went online, we did online platform, we have online platform for events and exhibitions, but obviously it's not enough, so we are exploring. So to employees who either left the company or been asked to stay home for unpaid leave, I always advise to go back to the company and say, listen, you know, because they know you, right? So it's before going to somebody else and offering your expertise, you can go to someone who knows you and say, listen, I'm ready to work for free. I'm loyal to the company. I'm ready to do the same job, and I'm ready to do it for free, just to show them that you're really loyal. Because in some time, if it really works, the employer will ask you to come back and pay you maybe 50%, maybe 20%, maybe will offer you commissions, maybe will even offer you the partnership if you are really experienced and you're really good in what you do. So first go to someone who knows you. Before you go to public and say, listen, I'm an expert in engineer and please buy my course or whatever, because there are different ways to build up your course. We also teach that, but first go to someone who knows you. For employers who runs the business and who's stuck with something they really know and they don't know what to do as well, I agree with the person that it's time to think of what else can you do. Because whenever you started the business, your mind of entrepreneur switched to that thing that you went out of your comfort zone, you went out to do something extra for yourself, for your family. So it means that your mind works in that set. It's just that in some time, running the same business, running the same company for over a period of time, your mind just set there. So it's the best way to go out of your comfort zone to get yourself in such crisis. I hope that not everyone got affected, and I really hope that a lot of companies are still running and they had this financial backup. But I know that in Dubai especially, or UAE, it's very difficult to keep the financial backup. Whatever you say, you still try to upgrade your lifestyle. You get a better car, you get a better house, you put your kids in school, and all that actually makes you make more and makes you spend more. But so it's a good lesson. That's all what I wanted to share. And by the way, for those who it's always like this, for those who actually trying to start the business or thinking of starting something, what we learned this from different trainings. I don't know if anyone heard about HEDI cycles, HADI, maybe I'm saying it wrong. It's HADI cycle. It came to us from United States. Companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, they use HAD cycles. It's basically, H stands for hypothesis. Then it's A is for action, D for data, I for insights. So it's basically converting your hypothesis into business through actions and collecting data. So I'll use the small example I usually use on my, yes, HEDI cycle, yes. I usually use on my trainings, I'm Uzbek, I'm from Uzbekistan, so I like plov. I don't know if you guys heard about plov, rice and meat. Okay, so plov. So let's say my hypothesis says that I want to cook plov for my family using my grandma recipe, all right? So the hypothesis says that my grandma's recipe the plov is delicious. So this is hypothesis. So now I have to move to action. So what do? I make a plan, the recipe. What do I do? How do I cook plov? What do I need? I need rice, meat, carrot, and stuff. This is actions. And also, in order to get the result, in order to understand if the plov is really delicious, I need to give it to taste to my family. So it's all actions. So from hypothesis, I do actions in order to get the results. So I give them to taste it. So my wife says it's very delicious because she can't say it's not. But my kids, my kids are saying that it would be better if there is raisin or something else if I can add. So it means that not everyone is happy and enjoyed the plov. It means that hypothesis is wrong, you know. So it helps if you take it to business. It really helps you to remove unnecessary actions. So whenever you build or trying to build the business, you can use Heidi cycles to understand which of the business or which of the niche to choose, because it works on everything. I mean, that's just a small insight what we have.
Thank you,
That's
Timur.
it.
Thank you very much, Timur.
I'll mute my mic, so it's noisy here.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Don't hesitate to share your contact to our audience. They will be happy to come back to you. I just wanted to add one comment, Munir, if you allow me, please, just for what Mohammed mentioned about the CV. I just wanted to remind that on the 7th of May, we have one webinar from our expert, and to explain you how to make the best CV, simply.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we have an. Thank you very much for reminding the next one. We have indeed a webinar about how to write a perfect CV, and we'll have CV experts from the HR and CV industries who will give you the best guidance for this. So stay tuned. We'll share, and don't remember to go to our landing page and see the agenda of our upcoming webinars. Just before moving to the fourth question, can I please ask all the participants to leave their email address on the chat section? It's also a way for everyone to network. If anyone is seeking help, we're here to help each other. Please don't hesitate to write your email address on the chat section. Thank you very much. Now moving on to our fourth question. In terms of company closure, what are the initial steps that one needs to take? And do I need a lawyer for that? Who would be willing to start first answering the question? Let's start with Sarah, for example.
Thanks. Okay, so in terms of company closures, obviously there's laws. I'm assuming you're talking about liquidations, and there are laws that govern that. And therefore, yes, if you are closing the company, you need to make sure you're compliant. So there's a legal side of doing things, and then there's a practical way of doing things. So in terms of legal side, if you're closing a company, all visas, work permits, all of that needs to be cancelled before you can. You need to have made sure that there's no kind of outstanding utility bills that are need to be paid. You need to have contacted DIWA, Etisalat, and get back deposits. You need to close your bank accounts, know who your signatory is on your bank accounts. Look at the lease provisions. Are you in breach of your agreements with your landlords? There's if you're cancelling, for example, LLC licenses, there's a process that's followed within the UAE. There's a first stage and a second stage. But I'm not going to bore you with the legalistics, because you may well need to get liquidators, and there's practical realities you also have to face when you're closing a business, as well as giving all of the notices, and the corporate governance side of things, of having your resolution that says that this company is now about to dissolve, or we're getting a liquidator to look at what's going on. Any fees, etc., need to be paid to DAD. On a real basis, you need to ensure that everything is checked out. So whether it be, what are you doing with your software? What are you doing with your computers? What are you doing with all of your company assets? Are you selling them? Are you keeping them? Are you letting your existing employees take away mobile phones or laptops, etc.? What are you going to do about your outstanding debt? What if you've got people who owe you money as a company? If you are going to close and the legal entity no longer exists, so that company A no longer is there, does that mean that the debtor doesn't have to pay the contract anymore because the company ceased to exist? So you do need to take legal advice. It's not a small matter, closing a company. If you don't have outstanding debt, so people don't owe you money, you're a small business, you're a startup, and it's not gone right, then it's an easier process. But if you're a bigger company and there's a lot that's outstanding, I mean, I've had questions recently from international companies asking questions such as, well, if we were, for example, to close our Dubai entity, could we assign all of the outstandings to our UK entity, and illegally are we able to do that? Can we make whoever our Dubai company has contracted with, can we make that end user liable to pay us, for example, in the UK? And I said, well, no, you can't. I mean, there's a right of assignment under UAE law that can happen once, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if the contract says there's no right of assignment. It can get tricky. So my advice would be to make sure you do things properly. The bigger you are, you're probably going to need more advice and legal. If you're smaller, then maybe not. You can navigate it yourself and make sure that everything is closed off. There's no outstandings, there's no work permits, there's no visas that are outstanding, there's no bank accounts that haven't been closed, or utility providers. So if it's a situation that would require legal advice, if there's a lot of people and a lot of money is affected, or contracts, or other kind of assets. So that's the nutshell answer.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I just want you, if you can please break a myth, because I have a question popping out from my head right now. I heard that in some free zones in UAE, there are some free zones, even if you have, like, for example, 70% of the shares of the company, if you have a business with multiple business partners. But I've heard that if you have a majority in terms of stakes, you're allowed to close the company without the other business partner knowing.
If you have no, it's not about, you need a majority to close, and it's usually sometimes 75%. There are special resolutions that can take place, and it varies free zone to free zone, and it's based on kind of common law principles. So yes, that is correct, that you can have a majority to take certain decisions, and that is allowed depending on the articles of association of the company and the company laws that affect in that particular free zone.
Thank you very much. I see Timur doing some gestures. Timur, do you have anything
I
to
just
add?
want to add, because I have experienced that as well. I agree that.
Can you please speak louder in the microphone?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
It's very broad, so it's very.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'll just remove the headsets. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So I just wanted to add, I agree completely that from one free zone to another free zone, it's a big difference. And we have companies in basically all of the free zones, Malik F, Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah. And the thing is that that you have to have the board resolution, the one you submit when you are opening, that other partners are agreeing with you that you have the rights to close the company, close the bank account. If you don't have such a resolution where everyone is agreed, you will need all the partners to be on signing the cancellation of the license.
Okay. Are you referring to the term sheet?
No, there is a board resolution you submit upon opening the license. When you're submitting, who is the director, who is the manager?
Okay.
The resolution is about the authorized signatory, and the resolution will say who can, for example, sign off on checks, who can take the decisions, who can do X. So as long as that initial resolution gives that power to make that decision, then it's okay. Again, we're getting into legalistics because there's a lot more than just kind of, yes, you can, or no, you can't, and it varies. But he's absolutely right to raise that. And you need to have that authorized signatory and authorized. So every time I for example, I'm the sole shareholder of my company, and I'm on the board. And if I want to do something, I always have a resolution that I empower me, i.e. the board empowers me to do what I need to do. And that's important because otherwise, where does my power come from? So even if I want to close off the company afterwards, am I authorized under the company resolutions and the authorized resolutions to be able to do that without everybody else saying, okay, there are others.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Adnan. Let me resume the question again.
Yes, please.
In terms of company closure, what are the steps that do I need?
I think half of the question Sarah answered already. That she was telling us in the legal side. If you have much money, you can hire a lawyer. But if you don't want to expend, if you don't want to, yes, if you don't want to expend, then you can do by your own. As I told you, you will have a PRO. Our economic department is open since Saturday. Labor is open. All our government places are open. Only the courts, it can be only online, and they will contact you through the bottom application. To close a company, first of all, you must go to clear your finance things from the bureau, credit bureau. It's based in Sheikh Zayed Road. You can go there and give your ID or the license copy. They will bring out all the accounts, all the abilities of the company in one paper. Then you need to clear, you can contact the auditing company as well to close if you have a debt or you need to pay someone. Then the final step will be if somebody is partner in the company and they can join to sign, or if they cannot join, if they have the power of attorney from each other, then they can come and sign and close the company. And the company to close is not easy like this, to come and close the finance thing and everything. When you close the finance and you go to the economic department to cancel, you need to make halal. We say halal the company. Then you need to put announcement in the newspaper as well that your company is closing. Then after 30 days, you will bring the announcement with you with the papers. You will go to economic department again, and you will give them. Then they will fully clear it from the system. Okay, and I want to add something. Some people are scared that if they lose the job or they have a company, that what they will do with their visas and everything. You see, today our government is very soft to everyone, and they are kind. They are doing their best majority to help everyone. There is a license called, maybe a lot of people, they don't know, an estate license, they're calling it. That you don't need ijari, you don't need to have office, you don't need to have anything. For 1 year, the government giving you a license, cost of 15 to 20,000 dirham only. And this license, you will have 3 visas free from the Ministry of Labor. Plus your name will be in the license as a partner for 1 year. It's called an estate license. Everyone can apply. Some people lost their jobs. They search of visa. They can apply for the estate license and they can be owner of their business. Maybe God bless them and they succeed in their field. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If Mohammed and Raed don't have anything to add, we might move on to the next question. Is it good? All good? Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Great. Sumisha, do you wanna address the?
Sure. I think we have one question in the chat, Munir. So it's up to you. Either we reserve a question or we start with the chat, which just arrived.
Okay,
I have one query from
Radhakrishnan has one question. I have one query from my friend who is right now stuck in India currently, since lockdown has been imposed. He's asking how to come back since his visa temporarily suspended.
If I can answer, Mr. Munir, how the visa can suspended when the guy is out of country, because as I told you, the immigration, they told they cannot, let's say for the visa thing to, if the guy is out of country, they cannot cancel the guy. If he's inside, yes, possible. Okay. And one more thing I want to say, if the guy, you see, the employee have the right to be out of country 6 months. It's mentioned of the resident of the visa as well. Okay, if he will not enter in 6 months, that means his visa is cancelled by UAE law. If he's an investor, he have 1 year to be out of country. Okay, but now because of current situation, they tell the immigration said, if your visa will expire or you will be more than 6 months out of country, you are always welcome to come to United Arab Emirates. There will not be cancellation on the visa if some people are stuck outside of the country.
Okay,
as I know.
I think that cannot be any clearer. Thank you very much, Adnan.
Munir, before you go to the next question, I just want to add to what Adnan quite rightly pointed out in terms of the ministerial resolution 280 of 2020,
yes, please.
Which is about basically, well, it's dealing with the commercial licenses and the instant license, if you like. It's what it basically allows is you can have, and in fact, what's happened is during the COVID-19, this instant license has been reduced by over 90%. So you could get it for even 250 dirhams. And the same fees applied when the license is renewed. An instant license allows you to open up 4 different legal entities. It's a limited liability company, a sole proprietorship, or a one-person LLC, or a civil company. So you get the commercial license, as has been said. You get general trade activity that's approved, and this can all be done to encourage entrepreneurs to start new ventures. It's a fully automated way of doing it. and it doesn't require, you know, any kind of office visits or pending approvals. You log in, you apply for it. It's a one-of-a-kind service that's being offered by the UAE in the world. So basically the investors are issued trade licenses, they get membership with the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, they get the certificate, they get the establishment card. So it's like a fully functional business, but it's just to ensure that people are assisted. It's a great platform for encouraging entrepreneurs to test kind of new ventures during these times. So I just wanted to add, I didn't get into detail before because I didn't know how legalistic you wanted it to be.
Thank you so much, Sarah. May we ask you to share this website or this link in the chat for everybody?
Well, what I'll do is after this, we'll put together and I'll get sent to you the online courses that I'm aware of, some information about this instant license because it is quite new as well. Whatever we have, I'll just share with you guys on the website and you can then send it off to everyone.
Perfect. Yeah. So we have already, sorry, Munia, we have already some questions about that, and some people are already interested and they want to hear the exact name, or maybe Adnan, if you know as well, if you can share it in the chat for our audience. And to everyone, please leave your email, then we can come back to you with these details later on. Go back to you.
Yeah, sure. Just one thing I want to add, Sumaya, it is on the website of Economic Department of Dubai. If they type, I can share the link of the website. They can enter when they will open in the first page, mention an estate license. Get your license in 5 minutes. They can click and they can see more details.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Adnan.
Wow, thank you. And does that license allow visas? You said
three visas.
Three.
That's amazing.
Three plus the partner visa, that who will be his name there. Okay.
Yeah.
Next year, you need to have a jari to renew the license to have a jari. That's it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Great. Brilliant. That's brilliant news. That's a scoop, actually. Yeah, absolutely. So, Sarah, please, I will let you address the question number 5 to the audience, to the panel speakers.
Thank you all. Amazing advice and tips there. I mean, Munir, we can now have a company at 250 dirhams. Yeah. We should all take advantage of this. So see, there are solutions out there, you know, that I would like to share with the audience. You know, so much has been done by the government that it's unbelievable. We should just take that first step and just go out there and get our lives sorted out, you know. So there's so many solutions and advice out there. So in terms of company, because we spoke a lot about employers, we spoke about the jobless, and now we're going into the corporate world and as owners of businesses. And you know, Sarah and you know, Adnan as well, all have commented on what steps needs to be legally taken. Closure is not something that you can just close and forget about it, because what happens is in the retail industries and especially micro businesses, they always believe they can just close and they don't need to go through any legal requirements, but these things just comes back later on and can bite you and can cause you a lot of issues later on. So it's best to go the right way, take these initial steps that has been you know, spoken about by our panelists, and we do the closure. It might take few months, but we go through the right way. Now, in terms of and I think it's already been addressed, like how do you communicate with banks and other partners, employees, and what are the measurable steps you can take to manage the process. I think Sarah had laid down those steps very, very well. So today, if we had to give an advice, you know, to either people who have lost job or are in the process of closing the company, what is that one main advice that as practitioners, as experts, you can provide to the audience? What is that main advice, either on a person who has lost a job, or a person who is in the process of closing down the company? And I can, you know, start with you know, Adnan, and then move on to the other panelists.
Sure. I think this is
just
little apologize
one advice,
because
yes.
Just one advice. Okay. It is inside the question, or it's separate question? It is.
No,
in
it's
the list of
inside the
questions?
question. Yes, it's in the list
Okay.
of question. Yes.
Okay. My advice to everyone, if they have a capacity, the time comes that they work in real estate. This is my advice to everyone. Because real estate, you don't need to have any, let's say, to think about salary, or I have target, or my boss will tell me, comes give me some task. If you are very good in speak and you can convince the people, this is the right position. And 29th March, Dubai Land make a transaction of 1 billion dirham in real estate. People was panicking to buy properties or sell. They were thinking that property will save them from Corona, unfortunately. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And this is my advice to them. Work in real estate and tawakkal ala Allah, inshallah. That's it.
Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you, Adnan. Ahmed?
I think it really depends on the situation of each and everyone. So I think we gave a lot of advices so far, and as I said, you need to be careful about your own situation, to know exactly where you are and where you want to be. So try to have this vision. I speak about it a lot, about vision and strategy and long-term view. Try to project yourself where you will be, because what's important in life that people maybe don't see, especially if you're maybe struggling financially, etc. The most important thing in life is 1, family, 2, health, and 3, happiness. You can have I know people who are multimillionaires, they're drug addicted, they don't have a family, and they're the saddest person that I see in the world. So you have to look at the things in a different perspective. What's important today is to have food on the table and to be able to be in health, because if you have health, you will be able to find a job. You will be able to turn around the situation that you have, and that will allow you to be better. There is light at the end of the tunnel. As we said, the government is helping us as much as possible. Muhsinin is helping as well, philanthropists. I think the business professionals are helping. Everybody is trying to help. So just try to stay as sane as possible. Try to work on yourself. Try to do internal work on yourself to find, as I said, the strengths to set up your goals, and maybe to find a job that will make you happy. Because at the end of it, if you're doing something you don't like, it will always come back to you. You will always feel not okay, etc. So if I have one advice, is that really don't look at the check at the end of the month. Look at the happiness and the fulfillment, internal fulfillment and success that you see in yourself, more than how much money you're gonna make. Because as I said, you can have the best paid job in the world. If you don't like what you're doing, you're gonna wake up every morning sad, and everybody will feel it around you, rather than just doing a job that maybe won't pay as much as the other one, but at least you feel proud of what you do. And there is no sub jobs, I would say. Every job is important. We saw it today. Who are the people that are most important today? The guys that are delivering food. I know for a fact that there is no delivery food, or almost no delivery food in France. People went, they couldn't get food. They had to go to supermarkets. They didn't find food. In Morocco, it's pretty much the same. I'm from, not from the capital of Morocco. They have it from Meknès. In Meknès, there is no delivery. My brothers, they have to go find something to find food. Here, thanks to those people that before we weren't even paying attention to them. Today, they're the ones that are delivering drugs to us, because people who are in quarantine and they need the paracetamol or any kind of other drugs, they can't go to the pharmacy. They bring them to them. They bring you food. People that are at the supermarket who are cleaning your cart before taking it are very important, because they help you stay safe and not be contaminated. So we should be thankful for actually those people, and we should think that those are the real heroes we have today, except for doctors and nurses. I'm not talking about those ones, because those are the obvious ones. But the ones that we don't see, that they're that obvious, the people that are cleaning our buildings to stay, I would say, free of coronavirus. All those people are working. I see them here. I talk to them when I go out, so I have the possibility to do them. You have to speak with them to show them that you really, I'm scared for them. And sometimes, unfortunately, now with this Ramadan, we can't give them food because of the situation. But before, you know, we were more than happy to share with them. So if you can share food with them, try to share at least some talks, because people are scared to talk to them, etc. And show them that those kind of jobs are very important, and there is no job that is better than the other one, because at the end, those are the people that are doing more than us sitting here in a chair in our apartments.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you very much. Sarah, what about you? What advice can you give, you know, to one advice as a closure to our today's webinar?
I would just say, and this is just positive advice, I think we should all always count our blessings, right? We might have lost our job, our company might be closing, but we wake up, we're alive, we have our family amongst us, we have food on the table. You've got to think positive. And you know what? Life, it throws curveballs at you. Part of, you know, life is we fall down, right? Getting back up is living. So you've got to believe in yourself. And you've got to think positive. And part of thinking positive is to be positive in mind, body, and soul. So, you know, do some physical exercise, release your mind, and then get back up and you're back on top in terms of, okay, what am I going to do? We need to adapt to a situation and find a solution. Everything changes. We go from summer to winter, you know, we go from January to December. Nothing's going to stay the same. You're not going to have a job forever, but your mindset and how you deal with it is going to affect you. If you're positive, you will reflect that and you will attract that. If you're, you know, if you get down and you get depressed and negative, that you're not going to help yourself in moving forward. You've got to keep moving. So to me, eliminate kind of negativity, even though it's easy to say and hard to do. If you focus your mindset to do that, you lost your job, it's the end. What does end mean? E-N-D, effort never dies. It is a no. Next opportunity.
That's
N-O,
nice.
next opportunity. That's
Yeah.
how you've got to think. Turn the negative into a positive. And you know what? All of us who succeed, and we all do in our own way, whatever that may be, there's always failure that leads to success. And how do we define failure? First attempt in learning. Things go wrong, just keep going. Be positive, and we are blessed, we are alive, we have people around us, and it's difficult times. They will not last. We move. God gets us from A to Z. He gets us from January to December. These times are not forever. You find your way, you fight, you survive, and you keep going, whatever that takes. And most of all, be positive. Positivity.
Thank you very much.
Raed? First of all, I think the best advice has already really been given by all the panelists, even the buying real estate one. I think we should always look at every crisis as an opportunity. I think we should always keep our minds thinking, moving. And if you find the opportunity in a crisis, then it might be the opportunity to work on yourself, the opportunity to work on your family, the opportunity to work on your future. Okay, so use the opportunity and don't give up. I think giving up always is really the beginning of the end. So it's very important to keep your head up. And yeah, Ramadan Kareem to everybody, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide us. There is nothing that
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
That is not also written
Thank
for.
you. Thank you so much, Raed. And Timon?
Timur.
Thank you, finally. Sorry, guys, it's just that. Okay, I agree with Sarah that first of all, you should be positive, whatever happens. But secondly, you have to be responsible. Responsible for your own life, because yes, you lost the job or your company is closed. You're also responsible for your, I don't know, your parents, your family, your kids. So be responsible. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, look at yourself, what experience you have, and try to go online and sell it. You know, there are several platforms where you can sell your experience, whether you good in talking, whether you are creative, you can write stories, you can create board games. There are several and thousands more platforms where you can sell your experience. For people who usually reply, well, I don't have any experience, then go and learn something new. There are ways to learn for free as well. There are free courses. You can become Google Ad certified experiencer and sell your skills to other companies because it's free Google Ads certificate is free. It's 3.5 hours. You get certified and you can use it to sell and become new experiencer. So you can do social media for clients. You can run their ads. You can help them build webinars. Like, honestly, I was laughing maybe a month ago when my wife told me, listen, you like to talk. Like, why don't you offer this as your expertise? So a part of what we do online, I offer skills running webinars. There are some companies out there in Russia. I speak Russian, alhamdulillah, and I speak English. So I help them build community here in UAE for English speakers, and I run their webinars. I sell their products online. So this is what I can do. Well, because as I said, my concierge company, event companies, offline is not running at the moment. So you have to go out of your way to, and don't be shy. I mean, doesn't matter. Everyone now is in difficult situations. So you have to take responsibility. Go learn something new if you don't have experience, and then sell it, or just use your experience and then offer it to other people who doesn't have it. There are people who need your experience. That's my advice.
Thank you, Timur. Thank you very much. Munir, back to you to put the last closure.
Well, I will first, before closing, I will just ask Adnan to give some wisdom words before closing the session. Adnan?
Okay. Yes, sure. Just I want to say about our government and Saudi government, our brothers there, that our leaders, they are not sleeping. From morning, they are waking up till 10 o'clock night, sitting in one room, 100 cameras, 100 TVs, 100 departments. They are looking for our safety and for the people that we are responsible for them, that they are in our country. Also, King Salman, he is doing very great job. We are so much proud of him, and they are taking so much good care about everyone in Saudi Arabia as well. And my wisdom words is that take care. If your grandmother and grandfather is alive, try to go visit them and take care about them very good, because from there you will see them and you will get the power and a spirit to live, to continue to live. This is my advice. And what I heard in Fox News, that a lot of people got a lot of talented in the house when they were in, let's say, in quarantine. Some people start to cook, some people start to shave. It's good that human being is starting to understand his value. That's it. Thank
you very much, Adnan. Thank you. Thank you for all the participants who have contributed to this amazing webinar session today about best tips after job loss and company closure. Tomorrow's session will be about copyright, how to protect your business ideas, and we have two experts for that coming to assist us tomorrow. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Adnan, Raed, Mohammed, for contributing to the panel. Please don't hesitate to join to more sessions and spread the word out. Thank you, Sumisha, for being part of this amazing journey. Thank you, Sarah, Mohammed. You're an amazing team, and we are very proud, and we really wish that you will like our next session. We're trying to keep the level as high as possible and to be as informative as possible and to help people out there. So stay home, stay safe. Thank you again for your support, and see you next time for future sessions. So this session is being recorded. Anyone, please send us an email address to request a copy, and we will be more than happy to provide you a copy of the session today. Okay?
Thank you all. Thank you, Timur, Raed, Adnan, Sarah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
And Mohammed,
Ramadan Kareem. Thank you.
Ramadan Kareem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. I am Vinod Tiwari. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you.